If anybody's in and everybody can hear me okay, please hit the like button so I don't have to continue to say that a million times or ask. There we go. Get connected to the live chat. See if there's any of you you folks in here yet. All right. Huh. Oh yeah, we got somebody. We got somebody in here. I just need a second to get connected. For some reason, it's not wanting to connect me to the live chat tonight. But there we go. There we are. We're on the live chat. So yes, we are live. Welcome to my kitchen. Cheers for being here. And that's right, I am so cultured that my wine has ice cubes in it. That's how I roll. Val, what's going on? How are you? Good to see you. This is going to be a fun one tonight. I've been looking forward to this one for all week. All week I've been waiting to play with this cast iron. Hey Rick, welcome back. How was your vacation, my friend? Granny Graham, good to see you. I need to put my glasses on. Oh, so I can read the comments from across the kitchen over on the monitor. Okay, so never had pheasant. If you've never had pheasant, Val, do yourself a favor. I've never had it like this. I've never had coq au vin. So, but pheasant, if you can get pheasant, the best thing that and I'll probably do one this summer. I'm sorry, not summer, but this fall, where I smoke it for a couple hours and then I finish it on the grill. It's probably the greatest fowl you'll ever have. It is absolutely fantastic. It's my favorite. It's really delicate, and if I'll get a better shot here, bring you guys up. Now you can see that it's been dressed, but I left it primarily alone because pheasant's a really delicate meat. So you can't really, it's hard to process. And if you've ever seen a pheasant in real life, hey Tom, how are you? Good to see you. Radagast, good to see you. But if you've ever seen a pheasant in real life, it's a slender bird. It's a slender, round, like long bird. It's not plump and round like a chicken or a turkey. It's a whole different critter. So you can't really mess with it a whole lot. You don't want to really sit around and like tear into it. That's about this little bottom section right here. That's the fat that I got off of it after it was field dressed. Now this is not my harvest. This is my son-in-law's harvest. He got me this right before Christmas and right after Thanksgiving. So in that time frame, and I've been wanting to break this out, and I've been wanting to do coq au vin for a while, but I wanted to do something I wanted to incorporate this pheasant into it as well, because it's not really grill it. Right now the weather, I wanted to grill it and smoke it and go that route, but the weather's just not, this time of year is not gonna go our way for sure. So anyway, I got the skillets heating up. Tonight, so far, I'm going to be using a number 10 Lodge. I'm going to get the heat just turned up just a little touch more. They've been heating up about 10 minutes. I've got in the background over here, I've got my Descoware, 1960s, 50s Descoware Ace Frehley pan, and my Wagner smooth bottom, and a matching Wagner lid. So we're going to be using all of those things. And I've even got some bread. I didn't make the bread, but there's some bread in the oven too. So, which after the wine, I'm going to definitely need some bread. Let's see. William Hurt, hello. Did you catch me speaking French? Because there's not going to be a whole heck of a lot of French spoken tonight. But, and A lot of you guys don't know, I am a huge fan of Julia Child. I've been watching her since I was a little kid on black and white TV, and I love watching her show. And to do a cook that she's done is just it's a pretty big deal to me. So I hope everything turns out. I've never made this before, so if it doesn't come out, it doesn't come out. But I got a good feeling it will. It's actually surprisingly easy as well. I didn't think, I was watching her old show from, I can't remember, I think it was 1968 was the first, or seven, it's either 68 or 72 of the season I was watching. I can't remember off the top of my head. And I watched it a few times, and I thought, I read the recipe, and then I went back and watched the videos about how she did it. And it's not, hello Mercy, how are you? Good, I'm glad you're here. And, but the videos make things a lot easier. So it's not a complicated dish. There's some process to it, but I was surprised, that it wasn't as hard as I thought. So we're gonna go ahead now and we're gonna get started with everything. I've given everybody 7 minutes so far to get started and let everybody come in. So let's see if we can't, if you guys could hit the like button for me, that would be fantastic. And I'm gonna go ahead and get gloved up and I'm gonna start cooking. So Val, hey to the hubby, hey to the hubby. Behind every good woman is a good husband, so they say. So what we're gonna start out tonight with doing is, I might have to move this mat. I'm had to move. Me and the Beagle came in from being out back, and it has rained here all day, off and on, and I just mowed yesterday, so there was a grass mess, and I didn't put my mat back in front of my sink. It's sitting here in front of my stove, so if I don't trip over it and kill myself, I'm gonna eventually probably move it back to where it goes. But hopefully we can get in there and there's a good view. I think I am gonna have to move this mat, so just give me 1 second. Like I said, I just tracked in. There's mud I tried to get as much of the dog prints off the floor as I possibly could. There, that should be a little bit better. But we're gonna start off. I've got 4 to 5 pieces of diced up bacon. Now the deal with the bacon is that I blanched this bacon for 10 minutes before we use it. And the reason that Julia, that she blanches her bacon is because it takes the smoky pork flavor out. Because if you use it, evidently, without blanching it, it's gonna have an overwhelming pork flavor. Now, at the same time, you may ask yourself, well, why don't you just use lard or something like this? This is a really, really old French recipe that's been around a long time. And just like when we did the pork cake, in peasant dishes like this and for, things like that, people didn't have extras. They kind of just used what they had and just sort of went from there. So I'm thinking that that's why they didn't use this. But when we're done with it, we're also not going to throw it away, because we are going to be putting this off to the side. And then once we make our sauce and get to that point in this recipe, we're going to put this back into the dish. So I'm going to let that sit there. And I'm just kind of breaking it up. I cut this, but like I said, I blanched this for 10 minutes. There is some blanching in this recipe. The onions that I'm going to use, it called for pearl onions. The difference between pearl onions today and pearl onions of yesterday is pearl onions today are really, really small. They were a lot bigger from what I've seen, and I looked it up with other recipes too, because I thought I was just sort of, not going about it the right way or whatever. Maybe I was just having, just couldn't find good onions for it. But Actually, the onions, pearl onions today are not as big as what they looked in recipes from, like, say, the 1960s, 1970s, and 80s. They're really, pearl onions today that you buy at the store are really small. If you can actually get a pearl onion. Pearl onions are kind of hard to find anymore. So today, instead of pearl onions, I'm going to be using what's called a sweet boiler. And they're about twice the size of a pearl onion. And when you do this recipe, you want to go by, now I'm going to be doing this smaller because when Julia did her recipe, she did everything with her recipe is based around a 3 to 3.5 pound chicken. Now I have just about a pound of pheasant here. So I had to sort of reduce things. And when you I'm not going to use near the amount of onions that she used in her recipe. But what she said made sense on how she decided how much she was going to put in things. And as far as the onions went, you want to kind of go about 4 to 5 onions per person. So I'm going to do, since I'm kind of a hearty eater, I think I got 6 of them prepped up. Now there is a little prep in this, but if I would have known what I was, instead of making it extremely difficult and harder on myself to get it done and looking to, it's one of those recipes where you kind of look into it, you make it out to be harder than it really is. And that's what I did with this one, because it's once you see the end result, and as long as I don't miss anything or forget what I'm doing, that's why I have the card there, then everything should work out. Everything should work out pretty well with this. But I don't have the heat up incredibly high because I don't want to turn these into bacon bits, but I do want to brown them so that they can be, because if you've ever worked with like bacon, say in pork and beans, you can have bacon that's pretty crisp, and then you put it into baked beans or something like that, and it'll actually it'll rehydrate back up. And so you definitely want to make smaller pieces, but you don't want to make them, you want them to be noticeable in this. And surprisingly enough, there's not a lot of herbs and spices. It's fairly simple. There's just thyme, garlic, salt, pepper. I know I'm probably missing something, and that's about it. There's not a whole lot. I know that there's a little bit of tomato paste in here in a little bit, and her recipe and other people's recipes called for the tomato paste to be Italian tomato paste, so that means it has, basically Italian herbs and spices. So I didn't have that, but I just added Italian seasoning to it, and it seems to be okay. It tastes all right. So that's a good substitute. I just added Italian seasoning to my stuff there, to my tomato paste. Yeah, that's going pretty good. And we're not gonna throw much more oil into this right now. We're just gonna use the grease that's in here. So there we go. Catch up on some of the comments here for a second. Get a little taste of my wine. Do a little beard cam. I don't have flannel on today, so there won't be any flannel cam. Yeah, that's the fun part about watching. Hey Fuzz, what's up, buddy? Yeah, I'm tired of rain too. It's just been nothing but rain. It's like it's London here. But yeah, Val, that's one of the things that's fun about Julia Child, watching her show and all that kind of stuff. And it was one of the, it was a big inspiration for me because I've always loved PBS. I've always had it. I've never been much of a cable person. And when PBS was free and it was good, those reruns were on. I mean, Julia Child was one of the longest running shows on there to begin with. But then when you think about the reruns and everything, she was, I watched her, she was a regular on the reruns till I had to be 25, 30 years old. And I used to just like to see how fun her show was. And it kind of reminded me about how we do this. It's not, she made mistakes. She, processed chicken without gloves on, and then grabbed her glasses and put them on. She was fun. She spilled wine. She forgot things. And she was just genuinely a regular person. And that's when I didn't model my show after Julia Child, but that's kind of the feel that I've been trying to do with these live streams. It's just sort of a, having some drinks in the kitchen and having fun with your friends and your family and going from there. So yeah, I absolutely adore Julia Child. I'm trying to see if it's worth going to, but right now, up until the 18th of May, they have a Julia Child display or going on at Cincinnati Museum of Art, and I'm not sure how worth going to it is, because it seems like it doesn't really have like a lot of the artifacts from the show. But I'm digging into that, because I'm gonna definitely go to that and hopefully get a video done about that if I do find that it's worth going to. But it seems like it's a lot of reproduction, but I'm definitely gonna try and go to it just because I'm such a fan. Let's see, dropped the meat on the floor, picked it up, washed off, cooked it. Hell yeah, she did. She didn't care. She was great, I mean, and it was campy. It was so, representative of the time, of the era. And she would, sorry, I swallowed wrong. Cook brave, like she always said. But here we go. Okay, so this is done. I'm gonna take this out. It's just slightly cooked. And what they used on the show was what she called lardons, which was like a big hunk of, almost looked like bacon. I've never heard of lardons before, but it was almost like back bacon, sort of. And that's what they used, but it's essentially the same thing, so I'm not gonna split hairs with it. See if I can get this out of there. Because like I said, we're gonna set this off to the side and we're gonna use this again. I don't want to overheat these, but they're just about, there's no salt or pepper on them. They were, like I said, they were blanched in water with nothing in it, and so that's all there was to it. And this seems to be, and like I said, I've never had coq au vin before. I don't know much, but it seems pretty straightforward for the most part. I'll set this off to the side. Hey Artie, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Good to see you. How was the cornbread festival, my friend? Okay, so we're gonna go right from there into here. Now, what I'm gonna do, I forgot to do this, because if you guys have all seen the show, I like to use the fat and render that off from the actual whatever protein we're using. I always like to throw the fat in there and render that. I should have thrown that in. My thinking was I didn't want to mix the two, because I don't want to throw this fat back in. But there's a little bit, I'm using German, and then I also, I'm sorry, I jumped right over this part. I marinated the pheasant for 24 hours in red wine. Now I just used a cheap red table wine. I actually used a sweet wine. And once I get this part off of here and out of here, boy, I tell you what, I was lucky that I tasted the wine yesterday, because the recipe calls for cheaper wine to be used. And so that's what I did. I grabbed cheaper wine, and I opened that shit up yesterday, and I'm gonna tell you something right now. That was the wine that I had was the worst wine I've ever tasted in my life. And I'm not even kind of kidding. It was horrendous. This wine, it was called Master of Puppets. And I bought it. I'm not a wine connoisseur, but I kind of bought the ones that people use for this. And this wine was so horrible that, oh my God, Cast Iron Chaos, it tasted like burnt tires while you're drinking grape juice. It was horrifyingly bad. I have never but twice in my life thrown alcohol away. But I tell you what, I honestly, I poured it out in the yard. I had one drink of it, and I'm like, well, maybe I just didn't let it air out and let it breathe enough. We're gonna go ahead and throw our bird in here. And you don't want to overcrowd, so we're not gonna overcrowd. But, I mean, it was, and it wasn't a cheap bottle. I mean, it wasn't Mad Dog, which I think Mad Dog would have been, Mad Dog was a huge upgrade, to be honest. This stuff was horrifyingly terrible. And like I said, I've never been one to throw booze away. I poured it out in the yard. I was out there working on, yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely it turns into vinegar. This wasn't even vinegar. This tasted like you were drinking grape juice during a riot. I mean, it was poor. It was terrible. And then I opened up, I had one that was a local wine that I'd never had either. And I opened that one up. It was a red wine. Didn't really say Burgundy or anything like that. It was just a local wine that I'd gotten at a wine tasting. And it tasted great there. But when I opened that up yesterday, it was like grape juice in an oak barrel. It was bad. So I went out last night and just got some cheap table wine that, that I've had a million times before. And that's what I went with. So we've got this up here. We're going to start getting that going. Let me see. I got to check my recipe because, like I said, I've never made this, so it's going to be step by step. So bear with me on that. Let's see. Yeah, and I am going to add just a bit of. I'm going to add a little bit of butter to the bird as well. Not a ton, just a pat. I'm just going to use a pat of butter up in this up here at the top. Going to slide that into the middle. This smells really good. I mean, it smells fantastic, but I also have to watch the heat because I didn't use a dry wine. I used a wine that's sort of a sweet. I used a red blend, and that was it. Red blend and thyme. That was all I marinated it in. And we're going to drop just a little bit. I'm going to throw just a smidge of olive oil in there because if I use butter, I like to use oil. Sort of my rule, and that seems to work out for me. There we go. Just a little bit in there. And we're gonna let that foam kind of die down just a little bit. I'll catch up on the comment section. Ernest and Julio. See, Rick, that was the thing that I was so frustrated with yesterday when I was out trying to buy wine because there was no Ernest and Julio. There was no Reuniti. There was no the stuff that everybody knows what it is. It was something that was just some off-the-wall name that nobody's ever heard of by a vineyard nobody's ever heard of. I mean, I saw Kendall Jackson was the closest thing that I saw to anything that I've ever even heard of a winery before. Unless it was like a champagne or something. It was ridiculous. It was totally ridiculous. Everything there was like some kind of Mad Hatter, 19 Crimes was kind of familiar, but that was about it. You need liquor that's sweet. I'm not going to do the flambe. I'm not going to do the flambe. So if you're here for the flambe, that's not going to happen because my insurance does not cover a indoor flame. It does not cover except for my gas furnace. That's the only thing it covers. So there won't be flambe, which that's not even really necessary. That's the other thing. It's not a necessary thing, according to Julia, and I believe Julia because I am Team Julia. So I believe what she says, but yeah, there's just no way that's going to happen because I'd show you up above my kitchen, my stove, but my cupboards are right there, and it's very low. So if I pop a flame up here, the chances of me burning down my kitchen in the middle of this are pretty good. It's actually a really good chance that that's going to happen. So let me get some tongs out. And I can't find it. Oh, there's the pump that one. As I burn into one side. I start burning these. We're going to keep that going real quick. We don't want to burn anything. We just want it to brown. We're just looking for a brown. There we go. Some of these, and like I said, this is going to be way different than a chicken. It's going to take a lot less time. And while I'm doing that, I think I need to, let's see. Yeah, so while I'm going to be flipping that back and forth, while I'm flipping this around, I'm going to get the onions going. And these onions, I think, are going to be really fun because I need this thing. Need that. I forgot that I had that on. So there we go. Break out the Ace Frehley pan. Move some stuff around. I've got my bread dip kind of hanging out on the stove as well. Because with all the wine I've been drinking, it's always good to have a little something on the side there. Keep things little checks and balances with the alcohol. So let me grab a trivet so I can set this thing off to the side, because I've got everything heating up, whether I'm using it yet or not. It is heating. So let's see. There we go. Okay. Let me see how that's working. I think I just need oil and butter, but we're going to double check. Braise and add water, butter, salt. Okay, yeah. So we're just going to braise these in some oil and butter and go from there. So let me put some oil in here. Turn the front burner on. This is already blasting hot. So, or not blasting hot. It was on like a number 3 on the electric stove. That's what it was on the back. So it's not blazing hot, but it's already ready to go. A little butter, just a little hint of some butter in there. And you should be good with that as I make my way around the camera stand. Yeah, she does. She does use that. But like I said, with the bad luck that I was having, I went with what I knew. And it seems to be going pretty good so far. Believe me, I have watched that video so many times in the lot. Yeah, I've seen that video so many times in the last 24 hours. I think I could recite it I could recite it if I had to. Let me keep flipping this. Get this into the middle a little more. And these pieces to the back, because I don't want it too brown. It's got a ways to cook yet. I don't want to get it too done. So, get that there, this there. There we go. And to be honest, this is really, really smelling very, very good. Let's see. Oh yeah, how did lunch go today? Yeah, exactly. How did lunch go today? Should have come on a lunch day, but then I was at work. Oh, gotcha. Roger that. So we're going to throw these in here. And we're just going to get them kind of started. We're doing this, a lot of this is just a little bit of browning everything. It's just a little browning of all things. We don't want it really cooked thoroughly. You want to leave that right about there. That one on that side. That side. Keep this going around. That side. That was a little piece. Now I know that, like, if you guys saw in the very beginning when I first put this in, it had, like some of the veins in there, or the tendons and stuff. To try and take that out would have torn up every bit of the. This would have been stir fry meat if I would have done that. And that's 100%. So we get these browning up here in the front. And one thing I did do And before that gets hot, I'll show it. I don't know if you can see this or not, but here in the middle, if I don't, these are like handle eyeballs. Here in the middle of that, when I blanched these for about 30 seconds, I peeled the skin down to where it was firm skin, onion skin, and then I put a little X inside on the root side so that these don't explode when they don't pop open or, you know, kind of pop like popcorn during the cooking process. So there's that little trick there, and I did learn that from her video. That's nothing I came up with on my own. That's a lot of nice grease in there. And I'm not gonna drain that or anything. I did just take a grease splatter to the face though. How fun's that? No fun till somebody loses an eye. Oh, I need to center that up a little bit more too. So we've got these going. Move that in. I thought about using the number 4 to do these, but I knew I wouldn't have room with the 10 in there. So let me see where I'm at with the recipe. Yeah, exactly. Cast iron chaos. Yeah, I'm trying to do this as close to her second season recipe as I possibly can, and that's something that a lot of people do is they've changed that recipe and they've made it way more difficult than it actually is, from what I can tell. Let's see, and we've even got some Béarnaise sauce for the people waiting for me to speak French. There, Béarnaise sauce. We're gonna do that. There it is. I haven't seen Cynthia Wesley in here, but that's what it is. She's probably out there lurking somewhere. She better show up. I'm using one of her pans tonight. When I do my mashed potatoes, I'm going to use one of her pans. So she should show up. Yeah. And we're just, like I said, we're just going to get these little brown. I don't want these cooked or anything like that, but I got to stay with this recipe because, like I said, this is new to me. I've never done it, and that's what we're gonna do. Just get this brown. It's almost brown enough to where I'm gonna pull it, to be honest with you, because we have to let it sweat. And that's the part, like Cast Iron Chaos was pointing out about the flambe part. That is the part where you would flambe it, and then you'd let it sweat for 10 minutes, and you'd you'd flambe it, and then you'd sweat the fowl. So let's move that over to here. Move this back just a pinch. Sorry to move you guys around. Oh, there's that. That damn mat's gonna be the death of me tonight. So I've got that. Let me turn these onions one more time, because I don't want these to burn or to brown too much. They just want to get a little color. I don't want them to start to peel. I don't want any of that. I just want to get it like that. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to move this lid. It's still pretty hot. So let's make a little room. Move this over to here. Not knock anything over. And there we go. So we're going to let that sit. Now I'm going to move that this way a little bit. Can you see that? Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it one time, and then we're going to leave the lid on it for 5 minutes off the heat. There we go. See, I don't want that to do that. A little too much. You're getting a little extra. Don't be getting extra on me, bird. You go off over to this side. We do nothing extra. But that's not, I mean, it's not burnt or anything like that. It's just kind of got some brown on it. Got a little I mean, that's, you know, if you were going for the look and you wanted it, you know, to just serve it that way, it wouldn't make any difference. Let me see. Shark Attack, yes, 100%. I love this stupid oven mitt too. I absolutely think they're the best. Okay, so let's see. Sweat it 5 minutes. 5 minutes aside. So we're going to do this 5 minutes aside to sweat it with the lid on. There we go. Sweat it with the lid on. Let me see. Sorry, I'm just reading my thing. And I have the worst handwriting in the world, so I can't even read my own handwriting at the time. Okay, these onions are looking, that's where the onions are wanting to be, yes. That is the look. I want them to look like eyeballs. You guys, let me see if you guys can see. No, you can't see them. So let me set my timer for 5 minutes. Timer is 5 minutes. 5, there we go. And then, let's see. So there's where we have these. That's about what I want. I just want that one side to be a little more. And it's not one to play ball, because it's wanting to be slippery. I'm about ready to pick it up with my hands. If I didn't think I was going to burn the hell out of myself, I'd pick it up. There you go. Got that sitting flush where I wanted it. And then I knocked another one over. There you go. But that's about where we want. And then I'm going to put this on a back burner on low heat. Very low heat. And I'm going to add just a little bit of water to it. Just enough to cover the bottom. That's all. Nothing too crazy. Just enough to cover the bottom. And that's going to be it. So let me grab a little bit of water and go from there. Let me see. Oh, I should have put that water in there too. So let's see how much we need. Set that in there. That should be plenty. That should be plenty of water. But it's going to be sitting there for a while, so everything's just about done. The onions won't go back in till just about finished. They're going to sit back there on the back burner and do their thing. So let me get the lid. Let me get the shark going. Let me get Jaws over here. And we'll get the lid on these. And I've got the burner on number 2, and that's where I'm going to leave it, because I am going to turn the oven on. I've got some bread in there that I'm going to warm up at some point. Just got a baguette, a little bit of a baguette to go along with it, and to dip in my little bit of butter and garlic and olive oil. Let's see there. Okay. So while we're waiting on that, I'm gonna turn that burner down in the front, and I'm gonna go and fill up this. Let me see. I think I'm at this point. Oh, I moved my recipe. Look at me go. I think I need to drink this glass of wine. Is what I think I need to do. I just need to finish this wine off and go from there. I think that is what I needed to do. A little bit of wine. Okay, so let's see, brown. Add the beef broth. I'm gonna let that sweat a couple minutes. But while I'm doing that, while I'm letting that sweat, I'm going to get the potatoes started. That's next up. And this is where I wish Cynthia was in here. If Cynthia's in here, I've got your pan right here. I'm going to make the potatoes in. There you go. Nice Tefal pan. We need Beak Scam. Yeah, we do. We need Beak Scam. She's sleeping. She's been, I'm surprised she's not out here because my neighbors are having company and they're out back barbecuing. And she was hawking them, just making sure that they were not up to no good. She was on patrol, and she loves my neighbor lady. She absolutely loves my neighbor lady, and my neighbor lady just goes crazy over the dog. But She must have got tired and bored of that. But I got about 5 potatoes here because I'm going to make mashed potatoes. And I'm not going to do the fancy sifted riced. I'm not going to do the riced potatoes. I'm just going to do regular old potatoes because they're still pretty good. Make sure that Smart Donkey commented then. But yeah, so we're just gonna do these. We're gonna make these the regular way: fork tender, lots of butter, a little bit of milk. But I do definitely want potatoes with this. So we've got that stuff going. I can't. And the funny thing is, well, she did the old switch. Julia Child did the old switcheroo a lot. So she had, in the video I watched, she also had one going in the. She also had one going in a Le Creuset Dutch oven, and she popped that out at the end and started going from there. So, you know, TV magic, as they call it. Okay, let me grab a little bit more water to put in with this. Oop, that means that my sweating on one side's done. Which honestly means once the sweat part of it's done, a lot of this is done. So let me get some more water. Throw in about 1 3/4 cup water in there. There we go. Maybe it's a little bit more. Oh, the beagle must have heard you guys because I just heard her wolfing it up in there in the other room. She's got some. She's eyeballing something. There's something on the block that's not on the street that's not to her liking, so she's letting everybody know. I do have the front windows in the living room open, and there's a dog down the street that she likes to communicate with. I'd like to say telepathically, but they are pretty loud, and you can hear the little dog down the street barking back at her. It's kind of fun. I think it's funny. I'm sure her owner doesn't think it's funny at all, but I'm funny. I think it's funny. I know what baby shark kind of is, but my one daughter was in kindergarten, I think, when baby shark was a thing, or it was one of those years where it was kind of a thing, and I think I need to put this back on the heat. I think I kind of made a mistake, but I think that should have been on low heat, but that's okay. We can fix that real quick. We'll just move that out of the way. And we'll move this one up to here because I'm going to be using this one, this Wagner. Yeah, I did kind of make a mistake. Yeah, it should be sweating on low temperature. Not anything too drastic, maybe 2 on an electric stove, but I don't want it to cool down too much. So I kind of screwed the pooch on that one, so don't do that. If you do anything, whatever you do, don't do that. So we've got about 4 minutes, just under 4 minutes to go to sweat that, and then we're going to actually throw this all together. Hey Jimmy, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. So I've got the Wagner over here, and for those folks that don't know, that are out there, this is the marked Wagner, and you can see, I'm sure that's not hot before I pick it up. If you can see how you know a marked Wagner, look for the C and then the size number. Even if it doesn't have that little Wagner thing on there, that's how you know you got yourself a Wagner lid. You have that little C number on it, and that does help. So you can, if you're out, it is garage sale season, and there's going to be some. Lids are on the top. Glass lids are on the top of my list this garage sale season. So I've got the back burner on 2, kind of keeping that warm. I'm also going to throw the oven onto the lowest possible setting because I just want my bread warm, and I want to be able to dip a little bit of it in my little sauce, my little oil and butter concoction I've got going down here at the bottom. So there we go. Anyway, so we've got this going down here. Now, one of the other things that we're going to throw into this, as long as I'm remembering this correctly, which I'm probably not, but we're going to, let me see. yeah, we're just gonna hold off on making the mushrooms real quick. I think that that's about where we're at with everything. Once we've sweated this, we're gonna turn this into the sauce. We're gonna add the sauce to this. Now this is one thing that I am doing different than what Julia did on her video. Julia did the sauce. She did the sauce and just poured it into a saucepan. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove the chicken off to the side. I'm gonna make the sauce in the pan with the Marinated, as my French gets worse as this show goes on. But we're gonna set the chicken out of it. I'm gonna make the sauce, and then I'm gonna add the chicken, the mushrooms, and the onions back to it. So once we've had this sitting down here at the low end of the heat, that's what we're gonna do. So I hope that made sense. It's perfect for popcorn. Let's see, it's like the one I got too. It's the first gazer grate. I must have missed something in everything. But yeah, so I'm gonna actually take the chicken. I'm gonna take the pheasant out of the pan when it's done sweating. I'm gonna, and then we're gonna make the sauce, add the mushrooms, and go from there. So, which that part's honestly coming up pretty quickly. As I don't know, have a little bit more wine, I guess. We'll probably be doing wine camp at some point. If that Wagner glass lid is a number 10, it works great on lodge. Yeah, they do. They're interchangeable. I know that my Wagners, and I do believe my lodge fit my Stargazers as well. Because I was initially going to use a Stargazer, but I wanted to make sure that I had enough room for this. And I could have pulled off using an 8, and I didn't. But I could have pulled this off in an 8. And that's one of the things with the sauce that you do, is that you're going to want to oh shoot, I did do something wrong. I did do something. No, I didn't. I didn't do it yet. That's what I didn't do. Sorry, I almost messed up, but I didn't. So what we want to do is, and we're just going to come over here. We're going to come over this way, and while we're going to turn this back on, and we're going to get this going here in the front, and we're going to add the wine. I almost made this mistake. So we sweat it, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill this about halfway up with wine. And this is what I was saying. Your pan basically decides the sauce. So you wanna go just about halfway up the chicken with your wine. And then the other half, you want to fill with chicken stock or chicken broth. I just happen to, or I'm sorry, beef broth or beef stock. I just happen to have beef stock, or beef broth is what I have. And we're gonna turn that up, and we're gonna let that cook for about 15 minutes. We're gonna let that go. And then the sauce is gonna be ready. I knew I was missing something. Sorry, I got a little ahead of myself, but that's where we're at. So we're gonna get that going. Got onions back there kind of simmering up. I gotta make sure, when you're doing the onions, you gotta make sure that you're checking them, so the liquid doesn't come out, because it is, if you can see that or not, but it is kind of got a little simmer going, and that's what you want. So we'll get that back up to temperature back there. I knew there was something I was forgetting after the sweat. So we did the sweat, now we add the sauce, and we let that cook. Started potatoes, and there we are. Let's see. Cynthia, I got your pan in the back. I'm making my potatoes in it. How about that? Let's see. Let's see. Somebody glad you made it, Badger, is using a pan he got from you. Yeah, she let me borrow it. There's Cynthia's pan in the back with the potatoes a bubbling. There you go. I don't know if you can see the logo or not, Cynthia, but thank you so much for letting me use your pan. Appreciate it. That's awesome. This show is so, it's a wonder anybody else but you guys watch this show, because it is so inside. All the jokes are inside. Everybody's talking about, we all talk about the same things. It's funny. It's like a show, it's like a show for like 50 people in the whole world. Let's see. Oh, something happened to Jimmy. I didn't see. I'm sorry, Jimmy. I had my back to the monitor. And the wine in my face. So we've got that going. So everything's kind of a hangout here for just a second. We can go ahead at this point and we'll get this front pan going, and we're going to go ahead and do our mushrooms, and then we'll set those off to the side. That is one thing I do need to do. Yeah, that kind of threw me. Sorry, had to get myself back together here. Had to get the wine and the beef going, beef and the beef stock going, beef broth. I don't know why I can't remember that. And then we're also going to add. Geez, oh Pete, that part screwed me up. Sorry guys. So we'll go back over here so I can do this part. I'm gonna take this back off. That's coming back up to a nice, that's gonna simmer up for just a little bit. Yeah, that kind of threw me off, sorry about that. But what we're gonna add in on this part is now they call for dry time. I don't have dry time. I have fresh time from out of the garden. I just started it yesterday, so that was the first of the time. That's German time. And then we're gonna, 1 heaping regular teaspoon, not teaspoon, from the measuring rack, but the teaspoon from the utensil drawer, and some dried, and to make up for the not having the dried time, I just added 2 tablespoons of dried chives into that. So that'll help, because we don't want like a gravy, but we want a thicker kind of sauce. That's for certain. So let me get in here and move that stuff around. There we go. That stuff mixed in. And letting this get it going. Sorry, I totally dropped the ball on that part. But you don't want it covered, you just want it kind of like these are, to the top. You just want to have it just about like that. And it would work, honestly, it would be easier to kind of have it even if it were chicken, but it's not. It's it's pheasant, so don't have that luxury of making it in there like that. And I probably could have used the 8 for sure. But yeah, we've got all that stuff in there. Okay, we're at 170 with the bread. That's good. The bread's warming. I don't want it to toast. And I'm probably actually going to turn the oven off. Turn that off. Because I just want that bread warm. I don't want it toasted. So we've got that going in here. Is that in the camera very well? Alright. And there we go with this. And so we've got that mixed in. And we'll get those over to the center. And we're going to cover that back up. And then we are going to go over here, and we are going to start the mushrooms. So that's all we need to do. Now here we just want to, we're looking for a temperature around 265. If you were doing this in the oven, you'd want to be at about 325 is where you'd want to set it. And they're kind of also, you know, they're, like I said before, they're kind of interchangeable. It's kind of the oven and the oven and the stovetop, but this is the stovetop version. I need to swing by and check out your videos. Let's see. You need to check out somebody's videos. I didn't see that. Okay, so we're going to throw a little bit of butter in here. Throw some butter in here. Get that going. There, like that. And like I said, this is a Wagner flat bottom. this was the, you know, the 50s era, the ones I really, really like. And we're also going to throw a little bit of olive oil in there and get that on there. There you go. And it's funny in the video, now that I think about it, it's funny in the video, the Julia Child video, because she messed up in the exact same space. So I'm wondering, or the exact same place with the between the sweating and all that stuff. I wonder if I'm subconsciously, I watched that video too many times and now I'm doing it. Julia, you got me doing that. Because then she showed it simmering. She went to go show how it should be simmering, and she opened it up and it wasn't simmering. But now we're here. We're at this point, we're at a simmer. Nice simmer with that. We got the lid on. And there we go. Okay. So, let me move those around. That's kind of, I'm wondering about that. I don't want them sticking to the bottom. There we go. We got this going with that. Got about that much oil and about that much butter. I absolutely love this. I love the story behind that pan, the little number 6 Wagner ware. I got that from a lady who didn't have an air conditioner in her house, and I traded her 50 bucks for this and I gave her an air conditioner in August. I bought her a brand new air conditioner, and I gave her almost $60, whatever I had in my pocket, for this pan and a 60s chicken fryer. None had lids. None of them had lids. But she didn't have an air conditioner, and she was in a bad way, and I felt really bad for her. And I really wanted those pans. And these were actually, this pan and the one unmarked Wagner chicken fryer that I have, were the hardest restorations, because she didn't live in great conditions, but she held on to these because this was a wedding gift from her husband's mother, or from her husband. This was a wedding gift. He worked at the Wagner plant, and this was a wedding gift from her husband, and she held on to it, but she hadn't used it in, I bet, 20 years. It was the hardest thing to clean up. It was in lye tank forever. It was in, I mean, the scrape that I had, especially the chicken fryer. The chicken fryer looked like it'd been used and put in the oven back when Ronald Reagan, when Bill Clinton was the president. Let's see. But so I always called this, her name was Phyllis, and I've always called those two Phyllis's pans, and that's what they are to me, the Phyllis's pans. So we don't need to add much, we're not gonna add anything to these. We're just gonna throw a little bit of salt and pepper on here, no garlic, no thyme, no nothing, just a splash of salt and pepper, that's it. And when I cut these up earlier, you don't wanna soak them in water, because you want them to be dry, because you don't want them soaking in water, or they'll just pick up all kinds of water. And we're actually wanting this stuff to reduce, we're wanting our pheasant to, the broth and the wine to reduce down. So that started, and we're not gonna overcook those either. Let me just get the shark here, and we're gonna go and give this a spin. Put this over here in the spin cycle. There we go. Just give that a flip. I'm gonna flip everything. Everything over. Everything over. That smells really, really good. I'm super surprised about it. I haven't had a lot of French food. I've had escargot a few times. Nothing. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I've had that's French. I mean, specifically French, anyway. I mean, I've had things that are like French fries, but I've never had anything that stands out as about being, I've never had anything that stands out in my mind of being French. Let's double check to make sure there's still some stuff. Yeah, there's plenty of liquid in that. So the onions are going like completely as planned. So let's check our potatoes, because the potatoes might need to get mashed and all that. But even the mushrooms, those are coming along. We don't want those too overdone. We don't need them to be, we just want them to be brown. Just kind of browned up. And that's about it. So we'll just leave those sit. I'll quit messing with it. I'll quit messing. Like Grandma said, just stop messing. You're just always messing with stuff. So poke the bear here. See what we got. Those look to be in a couple minutes. I think those will be ready to rock. They're forking it. I can fork them, so that's what matters for that. And we've got our the pheasants simmering nicely. Let's see, French toast right there. Greg Hart, you hit it right on the head. I do make a wicked French toast, by the way. I make a really good French toast. I should do French toast on here one of these times. That'd be fun. I'd do that. There we go. Do French toast. What I really need to do is get another glass of wine and check out the comment section, and let everything kind of hang out while I let those potatoes finish, because I'm going to mash those bad boys here in a minute. And I plan on mashing them like they owe me money. Yeah, that's how serious I am. Let's see. Give me a little bit more of the. Oh yeah, and we definitely went Italian. Now the wine I'm having doesn't even have a cork. That's how classy I am. That's what a class act you guys are spending your Thursday night with. I'm drinking a lightly carbonated Italian table wine with no cork. That's right, ladies. I am single. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. To me it is. Screw top lid, of course it is. Of course it is. It wouldn't be me if it wasn't a screw top lid. I mean, like I said, ladies, line up. You guys saw that. There's going to be gals at the front door just ready to break the front door down. Just easy. Settle down. My stepdad, who we wished happy birthday to, his 95th birthday to, he just last year stopped drinking. he drank. He was a box wine guy for the 30 years, 25 years that I've known him. It was a box wine. The Beags will protect you. The Beags was just through. We'll do some Beags cam here real quick. Beagle, you want a treat? You want a treat? But after that, you were asleep. That's what you were. Okay. Come here, you want a treat? Come here, you gotta do a spin. You gotta do a spin. You gotta do the spin. Alright. Over here. Come here. Come over this way. Let's get you over there. Come here. Come on, let's get your treat. Come on. Come on. Give me a spin. There you go. Alright. I think she did it. Did she do it? Yeah, there you go. You got there's the big scam. There you go. Good girl. Let's see. Drinkable wine, you can have a screw top. Yeah. And the nice thing about it is, in case you're wanting a craft project, they also make great outdoor candle holders. That also, when you've got that on your back patio porches, you either are hanging out with some Italians, or you're hanging out with a class act like this guy. That's what you do know, because I have several of those outside. I'm gonna pull these potatoes, guys. So I'm gonna pull those off, and we're gonna get to mashing. And then that part will be done. At this point though, oh no, we don't want to do that yet. Not quite yet. Let me see. We're gonna get our potatoes mashed, and then we're gonna make our sauce. So, oh, that's the one I need on. Okay. All right, Beaks, go on. Watch out. It's gonna get hot. It's gonna get hot, Beagle Dog. I want to take you to the vet. That one's a hard one. Scalding dog is a hard one to explain. So, all right, back. Back. these off real quick. Like I said, I've got about 4 or 5 potatoes over here in the danger zone. These over here in the danger zone. Let that sit and kind of let that pan cool down for a second. And I really, and sincerely, Cynthia, I really do want to thank you for letting me use your pan. That's so nice of you. Greatly appreciated. Okay, so we're gonna let that pan kind of cool off just for a second. Ooh, that's hot over there. Okay, go on, scoot, 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 beagle. Okay, so the mushrooms are about where we want them. They're looking pretty good. So what I'm gonna do now is, for my next big trick, I'm gonna grab this lid so I don't misplace it. I don't want these too cold, but I don't want to mess with them yet. I'm not one to mess with that. So what I am gonna do is I'm gonna take this lid off and I'm gonna put that this pheasant, so exotic. I got such an exotic show going and I just keep messing it up calling it chicken. So we're gonna take this down and I'm gonna check and make sure it's to some sort of a temperature, which it will be. I guarantee you it will be. It's probably over. It's probably too much because of how small it is, but yeah, I'm at 185. 185, which is about really where I wanted to be completely honest. So there we go. So we got that part, and we're going to remove. I'm going to find somewhere to stick this lid for a second, and then we're going to make the sauce. We're going to make the sauce. There we go. I think. Let's double check my recipe, make sure I'm at that point, which I should be. I should be at simmer brown mushrooms, make sauce, remove chicken from the pan. Yeah. And add burr. So you know it's burr marnay because it's butter. And butter, here's what I learned today. Burr is French for butter. So how about that? So we're gonna be over here. We're gonna pull the chicken, or pull the pheasant off. And then we're gonna put that off to the side. And then we're gonna add our stuff to make the sauce. Now the sauce is super easy too. Super easy. So we've been making a Julia Child dish now for just about an hour. So you got that. And we're going to leave that at that temperature, and we're going to set this off to the side. And here's where the magic is going to sort of happen. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of tomato paste, so we got 2 teaspoons of tomato paste. You can use 1 or 2. I'm going to use 2. We're going to stir in. Now, the Marinated is just, it's flour. It's equal parts butter and flour. It's softened butter. That's all. It's nothing fancy. It's just butter and flour. That's it. So there you go. There's that. There you go, and there you go. And we're gonna put that in there. I'm gonna get that off of we're gonna mix that up just a little bit, but we're gonna get a whisk out. We're gonna treat this as a gravy, even though it's not, but we're gonna treat it as such. So there we go, there's that. And we're gonna add our bacon back in. So we got the bacon back in there. And we're going to make sure all that's broken up. Now the butter's going to help that flour, because the flour is going to melt with the butter. And you can do that fresh if you want. I did it earlier today by just melting the butter in with the flour for a little bit. But okay, so that's at least somewhat stirred in. Okay, so that part's That part's out of the way. And then I'm gonna get a whisk, and I'm just gonna whisk that in. I'm just gonna start whisking it down and getting it going, getting that thickened up a little bit. If it's not where you want it, you can always add more to it. But this is looking pretty good right off the rip. But I am gonna stir it for about a minute. And then I'm going to add, I want to take my mushrooms off the heat. Take the mushrooms off the heat because they're where they need to be. And set those off onto a trivet. So, does everybody see this okay? Okay. Set that right there. Move this out of my way. That looks really good. Oh man, does that smells incredible. That really does. And if you can see, we'll get you a little closer to this, and you can listen to the dog eat as well. We've got that going with a nice simmer, and it's about the consistency of like heated up barbecue sauce, which is exactly where I wanted this. I can't believe this is working out. I can't believe it's working. So I'm gonna put my thyme back in there somehow or another. All right, sometimes you just gotta let things go, but I'm gonna be stubborn this time. Okay, so there we go. As long as I don't pick it back up. All right, enough's enough. It wins, pan wins. Okay, so we're gonna do that. Now, this is the part where everything comes together. Chop big. So then we're gonna take the mushrooms that we made. This is 8 ounces of quartered mushrooms and just browned into just butter and oil, a little bit of salt and pepper. So we have that part. And then we're also going to take, if I can get this thing back off. Now we're gonna add our, oh, I need the shark. Need to go sharking. Need to go sharking. Gonna need a bigger boat. There we go. I hate that's such a corny. That's so corny. Oh, that's so corny. Okay, anyway. So now we're just gonna take all this the way it is, just the way it is. Add the onions into that. The onions are in. So we're to that point. So the onions are in. And what else? Oh, and then we're gonna put our pheasant back in. And that's gonna be pretty darn close, kids. That's gonna be real close to being where we need to be. Then we'll work on our potatoes. And like I said, when Julia Child did this, she just did it where she dumped the sauce that was in there out and left the chicken, or left the pheasant, you just leave the chicken. Yeah, she dumped the chicken out. And there we go with that. Keep that back. I'm going to keep that back at the temperature it was. Turn this off. Turn that wherever we want it. And put this into there. And just let that do its magic. Right there. We're going to let that sit long enough to cook down just a little bit. I'm not going to put the lid back on it or anything. We're just going to let it sit at that spot. Can you guys see that? That is beautiful. God, sometimes I wonder how I do it. I'm just kidding. I'm getting so lucky right now. Yeah, Cynthia, this is a 20-year-old Lodge number 10 that I've had since, and it's only been, I just stripped it for the first time about 6 years ago. It had the original seasoning on it for almost 15 years. So there we go. We'll get a close-up of that so you guys can see how that's working out. That is working really well. I'm happy with that, which I'm really surprised that I'm happy with that, because I thought this would be the part where I would simply flip out. And we're losing some folks. I can't believe we're losing folks on this one. But anyway, people got stuff to do, I guess. May start adding wine to make my TV dinners. I think you should. You should pour yourself. You should just unscrew the cap and just drink it right out of the bottle. That's how I would add wine to my TV dinners. I just start drinking it like that. So we're gonna put this in here. We're gonna put our potatoes in. We're gonna turn these back on just a little bit, but I didn't lose much heat. And there's not a whole heck of a lot of to this potato thing today. I'm gonna make myself a little space right quick. And all that, just so I can have somewhere to put a plate to eventually. Eventually I'm gonna plate this up. Let's see. Well, we are gonna throw some butter in this. I got about 2 tablespoons of butter that I'm starting with, but don't you worry, I'm gonna follow that up with a massive amount of butter, because that's how those should be. That's how you make good mashed potatoes. More butter, less milk. Let's see. It got up to 70 degrees. But it was all day, but it was raining. Yeah, I kind of had that same sort of weather today. If it was raining, it looked like, if it wasn't raining, it looked like it was going to rain. And then it looked like it was going to be nice, and it wasn't. So I've been falling for the same stuff. Okay, I turned that down to more of a simmer than a boil. Because this is, the coq au vint's done. Essentially, this is finished. We're just waiting on the potatoes, which are going to be done here momentarily. And I mean very, very momentarily. We're going to go with a half a stick. We're going to go, oh, what I already put, so, yeah, I'll go half stick of butter in there. I don't care. Yeah, look at that. Call your cardiologist and tell them I said it's fine. Let's see, move this out of the way. I'm gonna bring a plate down as well to get that, so we know we're in the same ballpark. Oh, that's not running off. Okay, there we go. Sorry I'm off here. I had to stir this right as I'm getting ready to get the meat together. How my bread's looking. I kind of forgot about the bread. No, bread's fine. Bread's just on warmed up. Bread's just being warmed. That's all it's doing. So let me grab my masher. But I really did not feel like getting out anything else tonight. And we'll just get that going. We'll start mashing those up. Actually, I could probably bring that. I could have brought that closer and moved that lid. I don't know. Too late now. But I really want to do that because this is hot being over top of that. Over top of this thing over here. Diesel Pete's, that's hot. That's like Florida hot right there. Move this around. Turn this on, the front burner on. Oh, no, I didn't forget milk. I'm just gonna put that on like once I get all that butter melted. And then I'll add a little bit of milk to it. I think I've even got some cream in there that we could be messing around with. Yeah. There we go. Let me get that cream out of the milk. The old vitamin D. Make sure you get your vitamin D. There we go. That's plenty. Just a little bit of milk. That's all you need. Do much more than that, you're gonna have potato paste, and you won't have good potato pancakes tomorrow if there's any leftovers. If you just got pasty potatoes. There we go. Put that in there. Mashed potato. Oh man, those smell good. Salt, pepper. There we go. Gotta have that. Put those on. Excuse me. There we go. Heat off. Heat off. Masher out of the way. And it had a lid at one point. Not sure what I did with it. Okay, anyway, there we go. Oh, too big. Okay, Wagners do not go with, oh, here it is. I'm sorry. Set it off to the side. There we go. There. That can sit and stay warm on the burner. We're gonna break our bread out. Get this over here so we can get a nice little shot of this stuff. We are in the, we're rounding third and heading for home here. So let's get my bread out. There we go. Don't need that. Get our bread out. Like I said, I keep saying. Oh, that's right. I'm gonna use my other. I'm gonna use my other one. Use my other dish. There we go. There we are. I thought that looked funny. I thought that looked funny in the picture. So we're gonna get the bread out. Here's the bread. Just warm, just warm. That's all you want right there. And then we're just gonna take, for this, we're just gonna take this and we're gonna stir up this butter, oil, garlic, and Italian seasoning blend. And we're just gonna pour that on top of there. We're just gonna put that on top. Now I'm also gonna keep this so I can dip my bread. I'm just gonna do that. That's been sitting there waiting to be fantastic right there. So we got that part. Then we are gonna take and, where it is, there it is. So we're gonna take this, we don't need the lid again. Set that off to the side, put that back in where I can't find it again. We got this. We'll throw our potatoes down. Oh, that looks a little, I know it doesn't look great, but that's okay. Nice big thing of potatoes. That's what we want. Those are nice and fluffy. Oh, they're so nice and fluffy. Then I'm gonna take some of that, this butter oil, and I'm just gonna put that on top of there. There we go. And then I'm gonna get a ladle. Move this out of the way. Get a ladle and my handle cover. Move this close, because that makes sense to do that way. Let me give that a stir. Oh man, this thickened up. Here, check this out real quick, guys. This thickened up so nice. Just absolutely, that's just gorgeous. And it smells really, really, really good. So without further ado, I'm going to grab a few pieces out, a couple of the pieces that I want. I've definitely been eyeballing the breast piece there. And over here, I guess I could probably go this, sort of this way for right now. I don't know. That's not really working, sorry. Get that, and then we'll get this nice piece and a leg. Because you can use fork, you can use a fork, or you can use whatever you want, whatever your little heart desires. We're gonna get some mushrooms on there. We're gonna build this plate. There we go. Let's get that together. Let me see. I don't want to mess up my shark. go get a couple of those onions on there. That's what we needed. We needed some of those onions. Now I'm going to get some of these mushrooms up there on the top. I'm not having a whole heck of a lot of luck with the shark, or with the Hobbit spoon. There's that. There's this. Some mushrooms. Oh yeah. I think that looks phenomenal. All right, Julie. Your advice, your recipe looks like it worked. Let me just wipe that plate off. Let's see. There we go. Wipe the plate just a smidge, so at some point I can get a picture of it for the thumbnail. But that's gonna have to do. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. What do you guys think? Let's see. Let's see if that does anything. So I'm gonna wash that out. I just want to get my thumbnail real quick, and it looks a little washed out. So I just dimmed the overhead. Oh, that was too much. Okay. Never mind. I'll have to do some work to the thumbnail. That's all right, because I'm gonna try this. I've not eaten a darn thing today. All right. So let's swing you guys over this way, just a smidgen, and grab myself my spoon and fork that I never have ready for some reason, and a spoon, and give it a go. First I'm gonna try these potatoes with these mushrooms. That's what I wanted to try a lot. Oh man, that's good. That is really, really good. And like I said, I've never made this before. Wow. It's got kind of that 70s, I don't know, that's sort of that 70s kind of something kind of vibe going on with it. Onions. That's great too. Let me try a piece of this chicken. Let me try a little bit of the pheasant breast. Yeah. I gotta say, and that's not just because I made this. This is really, really good. You know, hats off to Julia, because this is fantastic. It really, really is. Just I don't know, just that combination with the beef broth. I'm glad I didn't use chicken. I thought about it. I made chicken stock today, and I'm glad that I didn't. I'll try this sauce with the bread. There's a fondue, Rick, there's a fondue pot right on top of the cupboard that I just got like a few months back at a garage sale. It's brand new, never been used. Thanks, Cynthia, you guys, and everybody. Thank you guys so much for stopping and showing up. I really appreciate it. Definitely try this. It's fantastic. I just can't say it enough. It's unbelievably good. Like, I can't even believe I made it. It's that good. All right. Well, Val, I'm glad you had a good time. I really enjoyed making this. I absolutely loved making this. This was so fun to make. It was really easy. I mean, you guys saw how it was. I mean, you guys saw how we did it. It was super easy to make. And you could do, you know, Julia was right. You can make classic French dishes at home for not much. This really wasn't much. If I hadn't thrown a bottle of wine away, this would have been, you know, potatoes and some pheasant was free, but this chicken, you know, and some onions. Yeah, that's really good. Give it a try, guys, for sure. That is for sure. But like I said, I'm gonna jump off here. I'm gonna eat my dinner, and just remember, your guys' kitchen is personal, your own personal restaurant. You can make anything you want. Thanks for stopping by for dinner, and I will definitely see you guys in the comment section. All right, see you.